Good morning again and welcome to the CEM Africa 2017. We're back live with a further interview with Shikesh Lalbahadur and Ric Wilson from Ninzi-Connect, both senior product managers at Ninzi-Connect. And I'm going to hand the microphone over to Shikesh to start with, to introduce himself, and then we'll hand over to Ric just to give us a brief introduction.
Hi there, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Shikesh Lalbahadur. I'm a senior product manager at Ninzi-Connect, based in Johannesburg. However, we do have an office here in Cape Town as well. I have with me my colleague Ric Wilson, who's also a senior product manager at Ninzi-Connect. And we're most happy to be attending the CEM conference for 2017. The conference brings to the table a lot of opportunities, meeting new vendors, trying to understand what else is out there in the market. Pretty often we're always busy with our projects and deliverables, and we don't get to meet other people in the industry, so this provides an excellent opportunity to network. A little bit about Ninzi-Connect. So we've been around for about 25 years. We initially started off deploying one of the first automatic call distribution platforms in the banking industry. We also provide interactive IVR technology, interactive engagement in the social spaces, IM, chatbot, natural language processing. We also recently, as part of an Aspect partnership, looking at fraud detection systems, so we can detect some swaps, divert detection. We can verify proximity or location of a customer upon approval of a home loan or personal loan, or risk assessment on an insurance claim. And one of our great areas of expertise, workforce optimization. Ric Wilson is our workforce specialist. I play around the desktop automation, desktop analytics, and back office and customer experience spaces. Ric, you want to add anything?
Yeah. Thanks, Shikesh. Just to add to that, I focus on the workforce optimization, and one of my main portfolios is workforce management. So it's getting the right people at the right time with the right skills to answer the number of projected calls that we have in. We can forecast for calls, chat, email, any type of contact that comes into a contact centre. And we can do back office. Effectively, we can do anything these days. Also on top of that, we have quality management. So we can do voice, screen recording. We can do speech analytics. So we can analyse 100% of calls that come in. And then we can package it all together in our performance management, where you have one source of data coming in. So it's one version of the truth, effectively. So that packages it nicely together.
Ric, I also understand that you're the president of the Aspect Software User Group Association, the ASUGA. Could you give us an indication of your role within the Aspect User Group, please?
Thanks. At the moment, I'm the president. I've been president. This is my second term as president. It's an international user group. It's for all Aspect software users around the world. It's for like-minded people. We have a website, so they can go on the website, they can share ideas, they can share problems. We host webinars once a month. 1 month will be a motivational webinar. Next month will be a product webinar. We represent ASUGA at ACE, which is the Aspect customer experience, once a year. And we will have a stand there, and we will promote ASUGA, and we will promote Aspect.
That's a great overview on the user group. Thank you very much for that. Shikesh, a question for you. With regards to the rapid growth of, the technological ability nowadays within organisations, a lot of organisations are looking to digitise. There's a big commonality around a lot of the huge corporates around digitising their business and processes. How important is it to actually keep the human element alive during this transitional process?
So, if we look at how we used to purchase in the old days, we would walk into a store and purchase a DVD or a CD off the shelf. And that fell away eventually. With the advent of the internet, you would go online and download an MP3. Nowadays you can download a movie off the iStore. But even that's starting to fall away. People just want it at a click of a button. The technology must work for them. And everything's going digital. Everyone has a mobile phone today. You want to transact on your channel of choice, your given time, and it's very important that us as vendors keep up with this trend and provide the technological platforms to service customers across the generations. Now, whilst we're doing that, we cannot eliminate the human component completely. Technology will fail. Some point along that journey, technology will fail or can fail. And when that does happen, we got to have a human being readily available so that we can shift from a phone or from a telephone interaction, an SMS interaction, a chat interaction, to a live agent, to a live person, and have that human-to-human interaction. So I think there will always be a space for a human element whilst we are along the CX journey and trying to digitize our engagement and interactions.
Perfect. And that's becoming a lot more prominent because our customers today are our consumers effectively. And that's our business as well, as in the live streaming. We provide the ability for customers to actually, like you went through the process of, buying the MP3s, downloading them. You can now stream all of this now live. And this is a live stream today, which is an indication of how, people moving forwards will want to actually contain this human element in terms of interaction. Great, thank you very much for that. Ric, I've got a question for you in terms of the difference in technology made to how customers engage emotionally. So if the call center were to have an ability to identify or engage at an emotional level with customers, with the consumer, how do you think technology is going to enable that type of interaction?
Well, thanks. That's an interesting one. Looking at it from our point of view, we engage with the contact centre. So we're looking at how maybe the agents will be engaged, which they then pass their emotional onto the customer. So a few years ago, an agent would get a schedule probably on a printed form. It would be printed out, they'd stick it on their wall, and they'd follow their schedule. If they wanted to swap their shift, they would go to their team leader and they'd basically beg. It would be filled out on a form, go to another team leader, probably get lost in the post somewhere, and it was a very laborious task. They want to see their results. Quite often they would wait 2 or 3 weeks to get results of what their performance was. That's just no good. Now, what we've done with our new front end and everything, agents have the ability to see yesterday's results first thing this morning. They can see their schedules online. All they do is a click of a button, they open it, their schedule's there, tells you when their breaks are, can get sent to the Outlook calendars so they can put on reminders of when to go to breaks and when to go to lunch. If they want to swap a shift, they just go online and they click a couple of buttons, pick who they want to swap with, and click it. Now, if it meets all the criteria, automatically all the systems update and they're very happy. If it doesn't meet the criteria, of course, then it gets sent back with a message, and please refer to them. They can apply for leave on time online. They can apply for extra hours. They can look at all their stats. How's their performance going? And they can monitor themselves. Effectively, we're empowering the agents. And when they feel empowered, emotionally, they're more engaged. And if they're more engaged, they work better. They work better, customer gets better service. Customer gets better service, customer's happy. So it works all around, everyone benefits from it.
So NinziConnect, obviously very involved with the work and the automation of workflow process management, to allow a unified view across the entire customer call center environment. Very, very key to allow, the agents to being able to actually interact with the business and with their customers effectively, more easily. Great, thank you very much for that. Also got a further question for you. How is your organisation breaking down the traditional siloed structures to enable customers' centricity a lot better? I think you've probably answered quite a bit of that already, but is there additional mileage that from a business perspective that you could add to a call centre?
Yes, definitely is. Adding to what I've already said, if we look back a little while ago, you would have workforce, so they would get their schedules printed out. And the workforce team would work in a silo, and they would be in one area. You'd have your quality team, so they'd be measuring your quality, listening to your calls, marking your calls, and once again, they would be in a silo. Then you'd have your MI team and your performance team, once again in a silo. So none of these teams were working together. Now what we've got is with Workforce Optimisation, we've got a single front end. And the front end is so user-friendly, it's like a smartphone. And if you give a smartphone to any kid these days, within 5 minutes, they know everything that's working on it. And that's what the front end is like. It's widget-based, it's so user-friendly, they can adapt it to how they want it. They can see everything in one space. Everything feeds into the one point. So instead of being siloed base, everything's brought together and it makes everything so much more user-friendly for them.
So if I hear you correctly, a single unified view of the call centre effectively. Yeah, superb, great, thank you very much for that. Shikesh, I'm going to move over to you in terms of how is engaging with the millennials, and this is a long-standing question that us older generation are trying to understand, and I think you've highlighted that already when you said youngsters are able to pick up to technology a lot faster nowadays because it's more engaging for them and they work through it a lot faster. How different is it engaging with the millennial generation?
So, up to about 10 years ago, companies were hiring people based on maturity, stability, but that had to change very quickly. So organizations then needed more dynamic thinking, more modern thinking, a new wave. So they started employing millennials. Now, what are some of the key facts about millennials? They're mobile, they're astute, they can pick up technology, like you say, very quickly. They can learn a WhatsApp application in a few minutes without any training from anybody. The technology must work for them rather than they working for the technology. And if it doesn't work for them, they will resign and pick up the next one and move on very, very quickly. So it is very different. The technology is going to suit this sort of dynamic and modern thinking, new behavior patterns. And bearing that in mind, after the millennials, we've got Gen Zs. Gen Zs are now 22 years of age, and they are trickling into these organizations, either your back or your front offices. And they're starting to adopt some of the habits from these millennials. So yeah, it is different from the past. Vendors like ourselves always try to keep up with the trends and provide the sort of technology that will cater for these behavior changes.
So, and that's a huge challenge within many organisations, and hence these silos. So, these new generations coming on board are actually effortlessly introducing new channels, like you mentioned, the WhatsApp. There's going to be further newer and newer channels that businesses are going to need to integrate into their organisation to be able to actually get cross-generational integration into the business. So very key in terms of bringing down the silos. Great. I'm going to hand the microphone over to you. We're going to bring the interview to a close. If there's a last message that you would like to pass on to the online audience.
So if anyone wants to join us, we have a workshop at 12:30 upstairs. We'll be presenting on workforce optimization in the cloud. We're going to be talking a little bit about performance management, quality management, getting insight into your business, understanding what's happening on the desktop, and how do we identify opportunities for business process improvement. So you're most welcome to join us there. For those that can't make it to our workshop, please visit www.ninzi-connect.com to get more information. We'll be most happy to engage with you along your CX journey.
Ric, I'm going to hand over to you as well. Some last words from yourself.
Okay, thank you. Just look forward to seeing everyone at 12:30. And we'll also be discussing workforce management as part of the workforce optimisation. So look forward to seeing you, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to NinziConnect. Shikesh, Ric, thank you very much for joining us here at the interview. We'll be back with a follow-up interview at the CEM 2017 Africa Summit, live from Cape Town. We'll be back shortly.